To quote Bob Dylan, the times are changing, and they are changing so rapidly right now, and we're definitely moving into an uncertain future. So with that in mind, I thought it might be useful for us to talk about 5 firearms for an uncertain future. And real quick, before we get into that, I'm alive and doing well, and I do appreciate all of the questions and comments and concerns. I just haven't produced any content for a while because I've been so busy working on the new house. We'll talk about that at the end, though. Okay, now, before we get any further into this one on the 5 firearms for an uncertain future, we're all in different situations. I mean, there's no definitive anything, you need this. I mean, live in different areas, we have different concerns, different needs. Maybe you don't have any game animals anywhere remotely near where you live that you can go hunting. Okay, that changes things. Maybe defense is a big concern for you, or maybe you live in a state where they have some very restrictive gun laws and none of this is going to apply to you except for maybe a slingshot. And it didn't make the list. But all right, so this is the five firearms I'm thinking. Okay, and if I were starting from scratch, and keep in mind, I've got game at the new house, behind the house, so small game, big game, so that changes things for me. Number 1 on the list, a good handgun. And it doesn't matter what handgun. Is it reliable? Can you shoot it well? Is it accurate? Can you hit what you're shooting at? That's really all that matters. And this is for self-defense. And I didn't think I'd ever be starting off a list with handgun, but if the economy keeps going like it's going, which it probably will, we'll talk about that at the end. But, okay, when the economy goes down, crime goes up. And right now it's starting to feel so much like the 70s that I'm seeing a pattern here. Let's put it that way. All right, well, the murder rate during the 70s, crime rate is horrible. Many times worse than it is now. And we're going to need to be able to protect ourselves, and we're not always going to be at home. We're not always going to have our long guns handy. Okay, now this particular handgun, this is a Beretta Model 84 FS Cheetah. Okay, it's in 380, not the most powerful round, but I've got a longer barrel than most 380s. I'm getting extra velocity. I get great penetration, 13 round magazine. I'm very accurate with this handgun, and it's easy to conceal and carry. And that's legal where I'm at. This handgun's legal where I'm at. It's a good option for me. And another thing I really love about this handgun is that it is an FS. All right, well, I also have a Beretta Model 92 FS, and the controls are identical. Well, that's nice when you've got 2 handguns, the controls are identical. And for around the house, as far as any need like that, I would rather have the 92 FS and 9mm. It's higher capacity magazine. I'm more accurate with it. It's just not the easiest to conceal carry, especially in the warmer months with lighter clothing. Okay, and right now, I don't feel like crime's an issue right now, or it is, but I'm not overly concerned about it. Because I'm all about being ready for what's coming in an uncertain future. Should things get bad, it could be very useful to have a good handgun that you can count on. Number 2 on the list, a good shotgun. And I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. There's not a more versatile firearm than a good shotgun. All right, and in my case, I've got a Remington Model 870 pump. It's simple, reliable, but there are so many great shotguns out there. And I've got an 18-inch barrel on this one right now. I've got a 30-inch barrel in the house. Between those 2 barrels, I can do a lot. And the main thing is to have a variety of different types of shotgun shells on hand. All right, so right now this is set up for home defense, and I have number 4 buckshot. All right, so this is smaller than a standard buckshot pellet, but I live in a crowded neighborhood. I've got neighbors that I like that live all around me, and overpenetration is a concern for me. I don't want anything going from my house into theirs. Okay, so this is just a really good option for me. If I lived somewhere else, I would have other options. Okay, and then this is an outstanding firearm for hunting. All right, so buckshot and slugs for big game. With slugs, you can take on some really big stuff depending on where you live. All right, and then there's small loads for small game, so rabbits and squirrels, raccoons, you name it. Number 4 shot for turkeys, bird loads, dove. I've got a lot of dove in the area. So this is just a way to put some food on the table. Yeah, and a great defensive weapon. Number 3 on the list, a good 22. 22 is hard to beat. They're just so useful. Pest control around the house, small game hunting, rabbits and squirrels, raccoons, that type thing. They're just a wonderful firearm. And ammo, I'm not going to say it's cheap, but it's cheap relative to everything else. Okay, and for me personally, I had a really hard time deciding between the shotgun and the 22 for the number 2 spot. All right, the shotgun's more versatile. That's why I finally decided, okay, hit for number 2. But for me, I've always been better with a 22 rifle. I remember a friend coming to get me one time when we were young and dumb, and he wanted to go shoot skeet. And I didn't have a shotgun, so I grabbed my 22. He said, "You can't shoot skeet with a 22. Keep in mind, there are safety concerns with shooting skeet with a 22 because shot from a shotgun, it's going to fall harmlessly and close by, and you don't have to worry about it just going on for however far and then falling from the sky and hitting someone. All right, but where we were at, I could do that safely. And the very first skeet he threw, I just busted it with my 22. And that ended his argument about I can't shoot skeet with a 22. Now, I missed every skeet after that, but it sure looked good on that first one. So, yeah, I do love a 22, and they are so useful. And if times were hard enough, you could hunt deer with a 22, headshots. But nothing I would ever recommend. I mean, just that's so risky, and you risk wounding the animal. But I'm just saying they're useful, and it doesn't matter what 22. Okay, this is a Remington bolt action. I love the Rugers. Okay, the 10-22. Those are so useful, and that could fill a lot of roles, especially with the magazine. So then you have the option of home defense. I mean, a lot of choices there. Number 4 on the list, a good Centerfire hunting rifle. Again, doesn't matter what rifle, what cartridge. If you live out west, you got a lot of really big critters running around your house, elk, bear, that type thing. Something on the heavier side. If you're like me and just a bunch of deer, any of the standard hunting cartridges from 243 to whatever you like using. Just make sure, like everything else, you can hit what you're shooting at. That's it. Finally, number 5, a good semi-automatic Centerfire hunting rifle. Okay, like everything else, doesn't matter what rifle, doesn't matter what cartridge. Is it dependable? Can you hit what you're shooting at? That's it. Okay, my case, Mini 14, so got good magazine capacity. I've got a detachable scope here, aperture sights on the rifle if I want to take the scope out. 223, good flat shooting versatile cartridge. This can cover a lot of things. All right, so back up from my hunting rifle, Centerfire hunting rifle, if need be. I would never make 223 my first choice for deer hunting, ever. All right, but as a backup, it could work. And good defensive rifle. Now, those of you that have followed the channel for a long time, you might remember a video I made a long time ago now. My 4-gun firearms set. All right, so the 4 firearms I want, these are the ones I use for hunting. I want them set up, ready to go. And this covers everything I do for hunting or any other needs I might have. And this was it. A 12-gauge shotgun, a 22, a good bolt-action Centerfire rifle for deer hunting, and a good semi-automatic Centerfire. Okay, just, it's fun. And it is a backup for the bolt action, and it can do home defense. All right, and I threw in the handgun in this one for personal defense. Okay, my views on this have not changed in decades. This is what I've always thought. Okay, this is what you need to be covered for whatever. Okay, and it's, hey, my views still haven't changed, probably won't. And we are talking about an uncertain future. So that means for whatever. Okay, well, when I made that video then, I was hoping it would just get a lot of you thinking about, okay, what are my needs whenever I made that video? Okay, well, since then, we've had a lot of inflation. And I made several videos talking about the inflation, and those videos have aged very well, unfortunately. Okay, well, I'm not a prophet. The Lord did not bless me with that ability, but He did bless me with the ability to see trends, and I don't see things getting any better, and inflation's fixing to get worse. Okay, depending on how long Trump's tariffs stay in place. Long term, I think it's going to be a good thing, maybe. All right, but they're going to cause inflation. Prices are going to go up. Things are going to get more expensive. All right, well, I wanted to bring awareness to making sure you have what you need back then when I made that video, so that hopefully now that we are where we are, you wouldn't be trying to pick up a few firearms and paying outrageous prices for ammo. I stopped by a local gun shop 3 days ago, and I seen a box of 257 Roberts, Remington core locks in there, and I said, well, let me grab those. I didn't look at the sticker till I got to the counter, and it was $70 for 20 cartridges for Remington core locks. $3.50 a shot. All right, we're heading for some tough times. Okay, well, I wanted to make sure back then I was set up and could continue to go shooting and hunting and the things I enjoy doing and spending a day at the range. And I wanted to make sure I was stocked up then, and I was hoping a lot of you would make sure you were stocked up if you were able then. All right, well, we're going into a future now where we're going to be less and less able. I mean, it's just going to get harder for a long time to come. Okay, so if you are able, this would be a good time to stock up on some things if you didn't then, to make sure you've got what you need, whatever that may be. Okay, and you could change this up instead of the bolt action and the semi-automatic like I've got here in 223. Get an AR-10 and 6.5 Creedmoor 308, and you just replace both of these with one rifle. You don't have the backup then, but hey, you've got a good rifle. All right, and then if you can go on and get some ammo, you know, get maybe some full metal jackets for whatever, and then some good hunting rounds, and you can do a lot with that. All right. Right now, a lot of us are able to still do this. I don't know how much longer with inflation doing what it's doing, we're going to be able to stock up on some rifles, firearms, whatever we may need, and ammunition. A lot of us can't now. Okay, I would dearly hate to be trying to stock up on this stuff now myself. All right, so yeah, the future is very uncertain. All right, so let's just try to make sure we're prepared. And finally, the house. I've made progress. This is where I started at. This is where I'm at right now. Okay, so progress. And I'm proud of this. Okay, this was just me, my dad, and the fellow I was paying to help us out, and I'm proud of what we've done. Okay, I did get some roofers to come in and put down the shingles. I had a mason come in and put down the cinder block for the foundation wall for the new addition. The rest of that was us. Okay, I'm proud of what we've done there. And I talked before about the importance of having skills. Well, with skills, we can do things like that. Okay, and it's also been a huge confidence builder. Just knowing, okay, I can do whatever, and any repairs I need to make to the house in the future, well, that's no problem. I built it. I know how it's put together. I know what's behind that sheetrock. Okay, so yeah, that's been such a good experience. Unfortunately, I've been working really hard to try to get that done. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm realizing how much slower I am now. So, yeah. But I do want to get that done for everything I just said about concerns for the economy. Okay, so that's why I haven't produced much content. And I do have a second channel. I've had a lot of you ask me about, or mention I should show building the house and things like that. I started a second channel where building a good life, where I'm just experimenting on that channel. Okay, so I showed some parts of building the house and I've talked about different parts of it and talked about economics, politics, basic morality. And the reason I started that second channel, I realized early on just the way YouTube works. If I put that on this channel, it wouldn't do anything. All right, so by starting a second channel and it just being whatever I want to do, if that channel manages to grow, all right, it's real small right now. If it manages to grow, then hey, it's an experiment. And that's the thing, anything in life, just don't be afraid to experiment and try new things. Don't be afraid to fail, because we're never going to build anything if we're afraid of failing. All right. God bless and have a great day.